What's up everyone? In today's video I want to talk about how do you find your career when you're in high school. And this is definitely a question for a younger audience in my channel because most of my videos have been for a little older, like 20s and above. But I have kids now and my kids are asking these exact questions. So I want to tell you what I tell them because this is basically what we're doing right now. So the first thing that you need to do is to have self-awareness, right? And this self-awareness is, there's a variety of ways that you can get it, whether it's through self-assessments, through conversations with other people about how they think about you, what are some of your strengths, what are some of your tendencies, what are some of your interests, and so on. So getting an understanding of who you are and what you like, what you lean towards. It could be speaking of teachers, it could be taking inventory of what are some of the classes that you like and what are some of the common things from those classes. So for example, when I was in high school, I realized that I liked all things social studies. So whether it's history, psychology, economics, those are topics I naturally thrived in. I didn't have to put too much effort into it and I was getting really good scores. On the other hand, I put a lot of effort into some other pieces and I realized that I'm not doing so well in them. So just by merit of what you do well in and what you do poorly in school can be a pretty good sign in terms of just what are some of your natural gifts. But at the same time, we got to be aware, just because you're not good at it doesn't mean that you don't like it or you won't like it. So one thing that I didn't realize in high school was that I liked actually doing things with my hands. I like making things. And I never took a woodworking class. I never took a shop class. It never crossed my mind to do something like that. But nowadays I realize I do a lot of stuff at home and I actually enjoy that piece of it. And perhaps that would have been a path that I could have pursued, but I never did because I never tried it out. Another thing is there are things that you may have been doing a lot of, but you actually realize it's not something you want to make a career out of. So that first piece of just self-awareness of what you like, what you don't like, that's really important. Now, the second thing that you need to do is to explore career options. And there's a variety of ways to doing this. The most easiest one for us all is to do desk research. So just go on Google and just search and look up what other people do. Sometimes your schools may have these websites where you can just click into certain jobs and then just get an understanding of, hey, this is what they do, X, Y, Z, and so on, right? You could be speaking with counselors in your school to get an understanding, hey, I want to choose courses for the future. I don't know what's good for me. What are some options out there? Just kind of like have a sounding board to bounce ideas off of. Now for me, what I've found to be most effective is just getting hands-on experience. So basically, we're talking about internships, we're talking about summer jobs, we're just shadowing opportunities and just finding an opportunity to try something out. And that would offer you so much more clarity and just understanding, hey, is this something that you want to do or not? Another thing that you can consider are career fairs, and some high schools have them. I've seen in the past when I worked as a teacher. There are also places in the city that has career fairs where they have different job openings and people just post jobs there, and then you can go and check them out just to open your eyes and open your horizons to what's possible out there. And then finally, there's also a lot of online resources such as workshops online or other places where you can find workshops where you have people who actually work in that field talking about that field. And if you seek those opportunities out, there's a lot of them out there. You can find them at your local YMCA, you can find them at the local community center, right? There are tons of opportunities where people are sharing what they do. So if you can find those opportunities and just get on that email list or get on that contact list, and you can basically piggyback off of all the possible talks that may come up. The third thing that you need to do is to seek guidance and ask for advice. So a lot of us often defer to desk research, or you sit in these workshops and you listen and that's it, right? But what's really useful is actually speaking to the people and asking them for advice. So that takes some courage on your part, where you basically walk up to that person and say like, hey, I'm really interested in your field. What do I need to do to prepare for this field, right? And it's basically getting this advice and getting real life people telling you what is relevant at the moment. And the other thing you got to consider is, where is this career headed? Where is the trajectory of that field headed? One thing you got to realize is that we got AI in the horizon, and that may change the playing field for certain fields, right? So by speaking with these professionals or these people who are actually working in the field, you get a better understanding, hey, is this field at risk? What is coming? What's in the horizon? What do I have to prepare for? And so on. And I hear a lot of stories where you have people in the 90s or early 2000s and they entered computer science. And at that time, they were fresh grads out of college, just getting into the world, and they're like the latest and greatest. And therefore, a lot of companies hired them. But within 5 to 10 years, especially in the tech industry, they became relatively older and their skills started becoming outdated. And a lot of people who get let go, who can't, keep up with the technology and everything, and then they essentially struggle with making a transition to any other career. So these are things that you got to be looking out for, because if you move into a field where people get quickly replaced, that's just something you got to be aware of so that you can stay on top of the game and that you won't be at risk of being obsolete. I'm not saying people are obsolete, I'm saying that's just the realities of the workforce, right? If your skills don't keep up, it's going to be an issue. The fourth thing that you need to do is actually plan, right? Set goals and make a plan. What research has found that if you have an idea in your head, but you never write it down and set a goal, the chances of that goal actually happening becomes next to nil, right? Because at the end of the day, you write it down, you have a clear idea of what you want, and then therefore you can go pursue it. If you don't write it down, you just have an idea like, oh, yeah, I'm going to move into this field approximately, we'll figure it out, I'll play it by ear. It's not going to happen. Therefore, it's very important to be intentional about what your goals are so that you can systematically work towards that. So what's really helpful is you set a goal and then you backward design it. For example, if your goal is to be a UX designer, then you backward design from the ultimate destination of a UX designer, and you get all these stepping stones and you figure out, oh, people get to become a UX designer because they go to a certain training, and then from your conversations with the professionals, you realize that certain schools are better than others for this kind of training. You realize that certain skill sets are more valuable than others, and therefore you go and build towards that. So by setting a clear goal and then backward engineering that, right, backward designing it, it will help you map out what are the stepping stones that you need to take to achieve that goal. And by doing that, you are essentially creating a roadmap where you can follow this plan to achieve that goal. Now, mind you, I'm not saying set a goal and then totally just this is it. You will be constantly reevaluating it. So for example, if you are entering a college or taking a course, you're going to be speaking with people in the course and the instructors and so on. And through those interactions, you may need to reevaluate these actual steps that you've planned out. But if you don't have those planned out, you won't get to that step in the first place. Do you see what I mean? So that's why every step of the way, take a quick reevaluation. Am I headed in the right direction? And then reorient yourself as you need. So there are cases where people enter certain career fields. So I know some people who enter teachers college and then they realize probably halfway through or in their practicum, they realize that, hey, actually I don't want to be a teacher. And it's better to figure out at that time and drop out than following through and having a degree stuck in your hands that you do not need or do not want. Basically, you don't need it, right? So that's why it's important to reevaluate every step of the way. And so to do a quick recap, it's about getting that self-awareness by tapping into the resources around you and being resourceful and figuring it out, by speaking of real people and figuring out how it's actually done, and then by setting a goal and then backward designing and just evaluating each step of the way and just staying flexible and open-minded to different possibilities. And just for context, I'm someone who's changed my career several times already in my life, from a teacher to an academic to running my own business to now in games. And I hope this advice is helpful to you so that, well, you can find your dream career, right? So I encourage you to embrace a mindset of lifelong learning, because if you're in high school right now and you're watching this video, that road in front of you is really long. I mean, if you're 16 right now and you decide to work for another 50 years, I mean, the future, we're talking about 50 years from now, we're talking about technology that does not exist currently. And I mean, just for context, for me, when I first entered the workforce, that's when the iPhone first came out. And for a lot of you guys, it's basically been the reality. And so just keep that in mind, always have an open mind, be a lifelong learner, map each step of the way, and just be open to being flexible and adapting as needed, right? And then there's another thing where it's your life will change as well. At this point, you may be thinking, oh, my career is above everything, but other priorities may come up, such as taking care of family, such as having a family, such as, moving to another country because of a variety of reasons. Who knows, right? So just keep that in mind as you pursue your career. And if you found this to be helpful, please give it a like, share, subscribe, all the usual. And I hope to see you around. Take care.